Tom Aspinall didn't fight at UFC 313, but he might have been one of the event's biggest winners and a suitable name for Alex's next fight. Alex Pereira's light heavyweight championship run came to an end at the hands of Magomed Ankalaev. UFC CEO Dana White thinks an immediate rematch could be next, which would remove Pereira from other matchmaking considerations for now.
That was such a sweet kickboxing fight. 3 title fights, defending the belt in 7 months. That's so legendary.
I'm so curious what they do with him next.
I would rather him stay there, go up, than go down. DDP could crack him, and cutting that much weight, you can get knocked out like that.
What's fair is the Magomed fight, but it's like...
Ankalaev.
Immediate rematch with Magomed Ankalaev. This seems like the fairest option. While some fans argue Pereira was outclassed, he was the champion, and immediate rematches are common in such cases, especially given his star power.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put him against Tom Aspinall or John Jones, that's like a mega fight.
Yeah. Jake Paul boxing for Pereira.
I want Alex Pereira. He said he wants to box. I'm down.
For entertainment, but watching that be sick as fuck.
A move back down to 185 pounds to challenge Dricus du Plessis DDP for the middleweight title is theoretically an option, but it comes with serious risks. Pereira previously struggled with the extreme weight cut when he fought at middleweight, which is why he moved up to light heavyweight in the first place. If Pereira is done with light heavyweight, a move up to heavyweight for a super fight against either Tom Aspinall or John Jones would be massive. These fights would be high stakes but incredibly exciting.
How do you see the Alex Pereira fight panning out with him in boxing?
He's tough, dude. He has some tough hand. You're gonna get some tough nights. What's your weight right now?
215.
215. Come on, man. This guy is big. Solid.
Yeah.
He's mean. Yeah. He walked straight to you like, I'm gonna eat this guy.
Yeah.
So...
UFC champion Alex Pereira has switched his stance regarding a boxing fight with Jake Paul. Jake called out UFC undisputed light heavyweight champion and global superstar Alex Pereira for a fight in the boxing ring. Paul said, Alex Pereira, you said that you want to box. I'm the king of this. I'm the king of this. Come over. We can make it happen. I want you. Alex Pereira. When asked whether he truly wants to fight Pereira, Paul said, indeed. I just beat the BKFC champion. I've beat multiple UFC champions, and he said that he wants to box. So Alex Pereira, let's make it happen.
I'm sorry, dog. Are you insane? That was
Alex Pereira, you said you want to box. I'm the king of this. Come over. We can make it happen.
Someone where there can literally be no excuses after.
They'll make excuses. With him, what could they say?
Pereira, I want you, big puppy.
That's great.
Given that Pereira is one of the most terrifying punchers in all of combat sports, perhaps him spurning a boxing match with Paul is for the best.
One of the hosts on there thought that Pereira was robbed. It wasn't a robbery, it was the correct decision. I had Magomed Ankalaev winning 4 rounds to 1. I've already done my review.
Bisping believed that Ankalaev had the right size, strength, and game plan to neutralize Pereira. His grappling and control were key factors in securing the victory. Essentially, Bisping credited Ankalaev's skill and preparation rather than blaming Pereira's distractions for the loss.
People were talking about Alex Pereira maybe not being fully committed to this fight, flying all over the world, going to Australia and stuff like that, making the most out of this moment in time and maximizing on his earning potential. Dana White was asked about that, and he said, look, listen, we often see that. We see people fly all over the world. A lot of doors open when you become the champion of the world, and when you're the biggest star in the sport of mixed martial arts, there is a lot of distractions. And yeah, maybe that did play a little bit of a factor, but I think the biggest factor was Magomed Ankalaev. He was just that good. He was big enough, he was strong enough, and he had a great game plan.
Magomed Ankalaev has expressed frustration over the fact that many people are not fully acknowledging his victory over Alex Pereira. He believes he won decisively, yet instead of receiving full credit, fans and analysts are immediately calling for a rematch. Ankalaev feels that he dominated the fight, controlling Pereira with his superior grappling and executing a solid game plan. He expected more recognition for his performance rather than an immediate demand for a rematch.
He said, I kept moving forward, I kept pressuring him, and he kept running away from me. For 20 minutes, the guy was running away from me. Then I heard at the end of the fight, he was saying that he wasn't sure why the victory wasn't given to him. Look, listen, if there is an immediate rematch, and I do believe that should be next for Alex Pereira, he deserves it, okay? What he has done for this sport, the impact that he has made, the entertainment that he has given us, and the fact that he wiped out the entirety of the light heavyweight division. There really is no reason not to give Alex Pereira another crack of the whip, another chance.
On an all-new edition of On to the Next One, MMA Fighting's Mike Heck and Alexander K. Lee discuss where Ankalaev and Pereira go following their 25-minute battle for the light heavyweight title. Additionally, future matchups are discussed for Justin Gaethje after defeating Rafael Fiziev for the second time in the co-main event, Ignacio Bahamondes, following his sensational submission of Jalen Turner in the featured bout, along with fellow main card winners Amanda Lemos, Mauricio Ruffy, and more.
Remember, worked in the tire shop, had a drinking problem as well. That was a long time ago when he was working on the back streets of Brazil. Now he's main eventing all over the world, flying around the world on private jets, first class, beautiful hotel suites all over the world, and a load of money in the bank. And his children are happy and healthy, and he's still got options. No doubt he will be the next person. It isn't going to be Yuri Prohaska, because Yuri Prohaska came out congratulating Magomed Ankalaev, and Ankalaev came back and said, "You're a fraud. Go away and win some fights."
Retirement is not a suitable option for Alex Pereira. Even after his loss to Magomed Ankalaev, Pereira is still at the peak of his career, remaining one of the most dangerous and exciting fighters in the UFC. At 36, he is in top physical condition and has already achieved greatness as a two-division champion. One setback does not define his legacy, and he still has multiple options ahead. Alex Pereira still has plenty of time to make a strong comeback with improved game plans. He's one of the most skilled and adaptable strikers in MMA, and despite the loss to Magomed Ankalaev, he has shown resilience throughout his career.
But now he's the champ, and the champs don't fight usually as regularly as what Pereira did, okay? Now that fight would be about 7 months away. That's quite long. Maybe that's a good thing for Pereira. Gives him time to actually go away and have a break, have a rest, get hungry again, get mean, and miss not being a champion.
Michael Bisping believes that even if Alex Pereira loses a potential rematch against Magomed Ankalaev, he still has multiple career options. However, Bisping stressed that Pereira needs to be more efficient in his approach moving forward.
And it could go on, by the way. If he loses to Ankalaev again, he could continue having fights, he could continue main eventing, being on pay-per-views. He'll always be a draw, but would he want to still do that? So the reality is there is a lot of pressure, because fighters, we want to be the best. That is our identity, and our egos take a big hit. So what does he do different in the rematch? Well, he's just got to be more aggressive. Simple as that.
Moreover, another option for Alex is Jon Jones. He is the UFC heavyweight champion and has publicly avoided any conversations about an undisputed bout with Britain Aspinall, who holds the interim belt at heavyweight. The 37-year-old New York native has instead insisted that he would happily vacate his title and only wants a fight with ex-UFC champion Pereira.
What do you think the chances of Alex Pereira moving up potentially fighting Jon Jones is? That would be a huge fight.
He was on the template scale 230. He's still lean.
Yeah, but I think Jon Jones would get on top of him.
Jon Jones would make Alex look bad.
I mean, there's definitely obviously a possibility a puncher's chance.
It's a fight, but yeah.
Jon Jones is so athletic. As soon as he gets a hold of your leg, now you're dealing with a real black belt.
The main argument against Pereira in this matchup is that Jones's wrestling and overall athleticism would be too much for him. Jones is an elite grappler with a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and as soon as he gets hold of Pereira's leg or body, it would be extremely difficult for Pereira to escape. Unlike previous opponents who relied on basic get-ups, Jones's length, strength, and fight IQ would allow him to control Pereira with ease.
And a real athletic black belt's gonna get on top of you, and simple get-ups aren't gonna work.
I trained with him when he first started, didn't know shit really. And his just gangly body on top, he's just
athletic.
He's very acute to what your body's trying to do, and he's just like a blanket, man. And now how good he is.
Yeah.
He would never even come close to even getting that.
Be a sick fight though.
However, following Pereira's defeat to Ankalaev at UFC 313, and with both men seemingly having already agreed to a rematch, a fight between Jones and Pereira has been put in jeopardy for now. Aspinall agreed in his reaction to UFC 313, saying there's just one thing left for Jones to do now. There's also the fact that Pereira's loss takes some shine off of a potential super fight with UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones, an idea both men have publicly expressed interest in. Aspinall, the interim heavyweight champion, has long been seeking his own fight with Jones, and he believes the UFC 313 main event result could work in his favor as far as making a title unification bout finally happen. Aspinall said in a YouTube reaction video to UFC 313, "That's off the table now. The Alex Pereira fight at heavyweight or any other weight, I guess he could still fight him at light heavy, but it won't be for a title. John, there's only one thing to do. Sign the contract and let's get a date going. I know we saw last night Dana White was talking. Everything is now done on John's side, and the UFC now have to find a date and a venue, place, location, so we're waiting for that. We've got some good news coming soon, hopefully." It's no secret that Aspinall has been willing to fight Jones for ages, while Jones has repeatedly taken shots at Aspinall's credentials, claiming the British star hasn't done enough to earn a fight with him. Aspinall is 8-1 in the UFC's heavyweight division with one title defense under his belt, which came against Curtis Blades when Jones chose to defend against veteran Stipe Miocic instead. Miocic immediately retired after losing to Jones at UFC 309. White told the media at UFC 313 that the when and where factors of Jones versus Aspinall are the only thing holding up the bout. This provided a positive update to the fight that thousands of MMA fans have been calling for after Aspinall's concerns about Jones's willingness to face him. Aspinall said, providing an update to negotiations with the UFC in March. Does he want to put himself in a position where he's comfortable enough financially to take the risk that he's taking to fight me? The Wigan native added, "I'm chasing it. I want to fight. I've been on record and said that I want the fight. I've been on the phone with the UFC saying that I want the fight. When's it happening? I want the fight more than anyone. What is holding it up right now is his side. That's the truth of it. The UFC really wants the fight to happen. They told me that. As I said, this is one of the biggest fights that can be made in MMA right now, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows it. That plan was derailed following Ankalaev's victory at UFC 313 and White's comment that a rematch would probably take place. The idea was also welcomed by Ankalaev, who was confident after his win. The 32-year-old Russian said, "Listen, I am happy for a rematch if he wants a rematch. I heard after the fight that he wasn't sure why the victory was given to me. Who was supposed to be given the victory? I was pressuring the entire time. He was running for 20 minutes, and then he was wondering who should have gotten the victory." In addition to claiming the heavyweight title, Jones is best known for his legendary run at the top of the 205-pound division, which saw him successfully defend that championship 11 times in total. It is not yet known if he will still pursue a bout with Pereira now that Poatan is coming off of a loss. Most fighters start young. Many begin training in their teens or early 20s. By the time they reach their mid-30s, they are either past their prime or already well-established veterans. But Pereira came into the sport late and still became a two-division UFC champion, which is unheard of.
Coming into a sport at 34-year-old, he should not be able to win championships in multiple divisions. A kickboxer with less than a dozen fights, including amateur ones, should not be in a conversation for GOAT or as a guy that many believe is going to replace John Jones.
John Jones is widely considered the greatest MMA fighter of all time, GOAT. Yet some fans and analysts now talk about Pereira as his potential successor, which is shocking given how new he is to the sport.
Should not be the sport's second biggest draw behind only Sean O'Malley. He should not be the main event at UFC 300, but he is. How did the guys of this era come in and let a kickboxer take over? This is the sport full of fake tough guys, and turns out Garrett is legit. It turns out he's an actual bat.
Moreover, Tom Aspinall rated Ankalaev versus. Pereira praised the contest, questioning critics who didn't appreciate the tactics involved. Aspinall said, "First of all, great fight. Anyone who says it wasn't doesn't know MMA. So I thought it was an amazing fight. The key to winning for Ankalaev, in my opinion, was that he wanted it more. He looked like a fresher man, mixed in between the takedowns and the striking beautifully. I wasn't sure if he would do that. that, to be honest. Tom Aspinall praised Magomed Ankalaev for executing the perfect game plan against Alex Pereira and ending his championship reign, at least for now. Aspinall admitted he had concerns that Ankalaev might become too slow or predictable, which could have led to him getting caught by Pereira's devastating power. He added, "I said a lot in the pre-fight. Ankalaev needs to do that, and I'm not saying that he took my advice, because he didn't. He's got amazing coaches, he's a smart guy himself, but he did it perfectly. I wasn't sure if he would get a little bit plotty and end up getting caught by the extremely powerful Alex Pereira, but Alex Pereira's run is done as a champion for now." Unsurprisingly, Aspinall is in favor of seeing Ankalaev and Pereira run it back, not just because that bout being made increases the likelihood of Jones having to fight him, but because he believes Pereira deserves the rematch. Aspinall said, "In my opinion, an immediate rematch should be there next. Alex Pereira is a massive, massive, massive star in the sport of MMA. Massive. Lost it last night, lost his title, but the run that he has been on has warranted an immediate rematch. Magomed Ankalaev, to me, looks like he's got his number. It looks like the same thing could happen again, in my opinion. I want to see it again. I absolutely want to see that fight again." Tom Aspinall acknowledged the brutal and grueling nature of the fight between Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira. He believes just how physically demanding it was for both fighters. As someone who competes at the highest level, Aspinall hoped that fans and outsiders could appreciate the sheer exhaustion and intensity of such battles. He said, "That was a great fight, grueling fight. Hopefully people on the outside who are not physically involved in the sport like I am can see how grueling fights like that really are. Magomed Ankalaev, light heavyweight champion, congratulations." In surprising turns of events, Dana White said that he's very confident in Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall heavyweight title unifier happens this summer. The interim champ has provided more reason for excitement. Aspinall released a video blog Sunday on his YouTube channel reacting to Alex Pereira losing the light heavyweight title to Magomed Ankalaev in the UFC 313 headliner, and indicated that result will be majorly beneficial for him. Prior to UFC 313 fight week beginning, Aspinall said Jones was holding up negotiations, perhaps to see if Pereira would win and set up a fight between them, but the momentum behind Jones versus Pereira is now largely dead, and Aspinall revealed off the back of White's comments that a deal has been reached. Aspinall said, "Jones versus Pereira is off the table now. Alex Pereira fights at heavyweight or any other weight, really. I mean, I guess he could still fight him at light heavyweight, really. I guess. But it won't be for a title. Yeah. John, there's only one thing to do, mate. Sign the contract and let's get a date going." We've seen last night Dana White was talking. Everything is now done on John's side, and the UFC now has to find a date and a venue, a place, location. So we're waiting for that. We've got some good news coming soon, hopefully. Aspinall said Pereira looked stiff in his defeat to Ankalaev at UFC 313. He also claimed he would have finished Pereira in the moment where Ankalaev wobbled him late in the second round. Overall, he thought it was a comfortable victory for Ankalaev by 48-47 or 49-46 scorecards. With Pereira no longer a threat to potentially steal his fight against Jones, Aspinall said he thinks a rematch with Ankalaev is his most logical career decision. Aspinall said Alex Pereira's run as champion is done for now. In my opinion, an immediate rematch should be there next. Alex Pereira is a massive, massive star in the sport of MMA. Massive. Lost it, lost his title, but the run that he has been on is warranted for an immediate rematch in my opinion. Magomed Ankalaev, to me, looks like he's got his number. It looks like the same thing could happen again, in my opinion. I want to see it again. I absolutely want to see that fight again. It was a great fight. After his victory over Alex Pereira, Magomed Ankalaev is now the undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion, and his next fight will likely be against a top contender. For Alex Pereira, despite losing his title, he remains one of the biggest names in the UFC with several options ahead. He could push for an immediate rematch with Ankalaev, but the UFC may want to move forward with fresh matchups. What do you think is the most suitable option for both? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fight breakdowns, updates, and analysis.